How did I hear the scream? Yeah, it's not working. So I don't know. Can anybody see me? This is bizarre. Uh, yeah, I have no way of hearing guests. I do not believe today. We'll try here with Marvin just a little bit and see. But everything has kind of gone. Things have kind of gone haywire today. This is not right. Um, this is not correct in terms of what I need to do the show with. And I don't really know what's going on. It's hard to explain if you're not here and if you're not seeing what it's supposed to be like and everything. Anyway, I put a post up last night and tested everything because everybody was talking about it being fuzzy. So I readjusted things and I ran a little 3-minute video last night and everything was okay last night. It's not okay this morning. And I'm not really sure why, but that's where we are right now. So from that standpoint, we're trying to get this thing figured out, but it is what it is. But y'all can hear me, so that's a good thing. We're going to try to get Marva on here and see how this goes with her. But my apologies. Everything was working splendidly an evening ago, last night. So maybe I should have just left well enough alone and chalked it up to maybe it was one day of YouTube being strange. Don't know. But any event, we're going to get Marva on in just a little bit, and it is what it is. So if y'all can hear me and I look all right, we'll roll with it. How's that? We may have to adjust the guest situation today. We had Marva and Brian Seigla and Todd Grantham, Steele, and I'm not sure any of that's going to work today. Not sure any of that's going to work. Trying to make sure to see if any plugs are undone. But hope everybody's doing all right. This is what happens with live TV. Okay, just checking everything. Just checking everything. All right, well, I'm going to roll with this and see how it sounds, see if I can understand guests at all. And we'll go from there. If it's just me and you, we're good. I got a feeling, though, when I put somebody on, it's not going to work. I hope I'm wrong, but spent about, I don't know, an hour and a half last night after work, just looking over everything because I did go back. People were nice enough to send some clips, and it did sound a little. I got what you were saying about the fuzz last night during the show. I think that's been eliminated, but now we have this problem. The thing about it, last night it wasn't like this. Like last night, I went live and everything sounded great, looked great. But that is definitely not the case today in any way, shape, or form. So we will try to figure it out as we go. But when things like this happen, there's two things that can happen, right? You can give up, or you can keep trying. That's what we're doing. We're keeping on trying here today. But I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's okay. How is your Tuesday? So I'm hitting random things. Like you probably heard the crowd applause. I can't hear it, and that's my problem with external parts of the show. Here's a fight scene. Let's see what this is. No, can't hear that. Oh, I wonder if I can hear the old my guy. Let me put all y'all on. Okay, you're already on stage, aren't you? Let's see here.
Oh my! Oh no! Oh no!
So
that was out of nowhere.
So if it's if it's loud, I can hear the voice, but I can't hear the music. So hopefully we'll see. That's right. The ice water is the most important thing. So good morning to everybody. And again, my immense apologies about everything, but hey, it happens. All the meters are running. Everything looks good, but it's just not, we're not cohesive. And I'm worried about the guests part more than anything. From Caitlin Clark's home base at the Indiana Fever, why can't the WNBA give up on their racism and believe in her? BDT is the cat's meow. They've got a political agenda. There's no doubt. The WNBA, they proved that over the weekend. They made a big deal about not wearing the America 250th patch. They almost took pride in it. It's a league that continues to hurt itself. And it's completely unappealing in any way, shape, or form. I want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. Get a free quote, 540-282-94. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive, sponsor of our chat room. He's the best. So, yeah. What else? We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I guess the main thing for me now is that if you guys are all saying it sounds okay, then you can see me, then we're broadcasting. And I do see the countdown of how long we've been live. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, terrific people, Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to them. The BDST fan question of the week, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. If you did not, okay, I think the question went like this. I don't know if Brandon's here. Whatever your question was, right? Whatever your favorite team is, in college football, if you could not pull for that team, let's say the gods of football said you could not be a Virginia Tech fan, who would be your favorite team? That's our BDST fan question of the week. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and this program. Professional Door Incorporated, again, they have their terrific deal going on, 40 years in business. Call them up, 674-0008. Because if you don't do that, you're going to lose your opportunity to get $40 off, okay? So good stuff. So that's what we're doing. That is what we are doing. 674-0008 during the month of July. Preventative maintenance. And mention that you heard about the promotion here on the program. Okay? Call Travis today. ReadySetFund.com, a series of text messages so you or your church group, sports group can raise some money. Reach out to BobChrist11 at Gmail. Crist. He's the brother of Dave Christ, the Hall of Famer. Thanks to Sundown Electric, one of the best reputable businesses in the area down in Elliston. Thanks to the Smith brothers for their sponsorship. The NRV Super Bowl. Leagues are forming now, men's and women's, and also for kids, 382-5525. Thanks to them again for hosting us in the Bash. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James Lawson a call. 381-8011, manufactured parts for your home. And thanks to Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. And I believe that's everyone. Morris says, yeah, the WNBA is a joke. Use other people's money. Correct. live in this great country, get rich, and then degrade the U.S. Yeah, it's a women's league that pays them more than any women's league in the country would. It gives women an opportunity to continue their career. The NBA, without the NBA supplementing it, it would have collapsed decades ago, years ago, and everyone in that league plays the victim. They have put their foot squarely on the throat of their cash cow, their megastar, Caitlin Clark. The league does nothing. She complies, and I don't feel as sorry for her as a lot of other people because she complies. She made some comments last year that fed into the mindthink of the WNBA. But she does. She complies with everything that's going on. She's laughing and having fun at the All-Star game, which credit to her. She's able to go on, but, it is a league without merit because it's not run to succeed. It's run to promote an ideology. Just like Hollywood is promoting an ideology instead of trying to put out entertainment. That's what the WNBA is doing. And it will not be deterred. It will not stop. They will not do anything to halt the agenda. And the NBA doesn't say anything to counter them, so it kind of tells you where their mind think is. No, Terry goes, hey, you didn't talk about LeBron yesterday. Yeah, I really couldn't care less. He ended up signing with Philadelphia. Okay. Once again, LeBron is team stacking like he's done his entire career since he started. He's trying to chase another ring before he leaves. Philadelphia fans, sure, you should be excited if you're a NBA fan and you think that's going to put you over the top. Good luck. Didn't put the Lakers over the top. He became a detriment pretty quickly, didn't he, when he realized he wasn't close to being the best player on the team. That would be Luka Doncic. Matter of fact, I didn't see a lot of reaction to that. I mean, it happened. It was reported. Of course, ESPN, they're going to go nuts about it. Do you really think that's all of a sudden going to make Philadelphia the team to beat? They have to get Joel Embiid back to being an all-star caliber player. They made a great trade. So we got a lot of stuff to go on. I hope it works, Marva. Oh, very cool. Marva's got a cool story. We're having all sorts of issues, Marva, so I hope this works. She's going to join us here in just a second. I'm going to let her know. Let her know we're having some issues here. You know what's frustrating? What's frustrating is I worked on it last night and thought it sounded great and everything was. I was so happy. I went upstairs and I was telling Janet, I said, well, at least I got the studio fixed. And then I come in today and everything is just, it's just absolutely, but we'll find out. The proof will be when Marva joins us. So my apologies again, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for hanging on with us. And believe it or not, please subscribe, like, and share. This is probably, the middle of August is our anniversary date here on the program. And this is, without question, the first time that we've had some things that have happened. You've been patient. We've had to reboot, or I've had to get the internet going again or something. It hasn't happened much. This is really the first time that this seems to be something within my StreamYard studio, and it's difficult to try to work out. Yeah, it's very, very difficult to try to work out. So I'm hoping it's not as bothersome to people as it's bothering me. Keep clicking on things here. I probably should not. But anyway, hopefully those things will work itself out here before we go. Let's see if see if I can hear the gong. No, can't hear the gong either. So basically what it is, anything involving the studio, I'm not hearing. And unfortunately, that means people that are in the studio, I'm afraid I will not be able to hear them. That's what I'm concerned with right now. Oh, here in just a second. You know how that goes. Yep. Let's see if that works. Let's see. There's a test that you can run with the speakers, and they when you play them back, you can hear. Yeah, you can tell it's not. You can tell it's not right. And again, it's hard to explain if you haven't had an issue. But anyway, we're going for it, and we'll see how it is with Marva here coming up here in just a little bit. So we'll see. But Marva will be here. Marva, if you're watching, please jump on. We got to do a test. So basically, I'm just trying to kill time. If I can't hear Marva, then we're going to have to reboot again. And y'all are just going to have to bear with me. Because if I can't hear guests, then guests can't be on the show. And I'm afraid I won't be able to hear her. And we'll see if she can hear me. Oh. But yeah, at this point, when the testing shows you everything is working, it's very difficult to know exactly what to do. At this point, I'm not really sure what to do. I'm now just clicking on everything the studio has to offer. Just to see if there's something I'm missing. I don't believe there is. Don't believe there is. Don't believe that's the case. I think it's okay. No, we're not going to punt. We're not going to punt yet. Wayne says your video's messed up. You have what looks like an awful Broncos things on your wall. So that's showing up at least. And I can interact with you on chat. I'm just afraid that when a guest comes on, I will not be able to hear them. That's my biggest dilemma now. I can deal with not hearing the studio stuff today. You know, I can work on that. But the problem, I do. I need more money. I need more. I hope my sponsors all come back. That's the problem. You know, they raise the cost of the studio, and then this happens. So, isn't that like everything else? You can always call the helpline if you know 7 or 8 foreign languages. Yeah. Yeah, I think everything it's the give and trade. It's like the give and take. Like everything's better. Like even I can tell in the headphones the audio's better. The problem's going to be again with guests, and we have a huge guest array today. That's the issue. Yep. Yep. Yeah, money's always the issue. So jump on when you can, Marv. It doesn't have to be right at 6:40 phone. I got to know Marva back. No, she's from North Carolina. She went to Chapel Hill. That's why she's such a Carolina fan. Worked with her at the radio stations back when I was doing sports for all the morning stations for Bob Travis and then Ron Walton. And Marva was the news gal. I was the sports guy, and we shared the same workspace. And we would follow each other on all the stations. We had the Bear, we had PSK, we had something called the Buzz, and then there was a news talk station. And that's how I got to know Marva. Yep. And when I restarted the show, she was then on the show. We would interact a lot during the first run of the show. And then when I started during, I don't know, now she's saying she doesn't see the invite. That's great. Well, that's going to be a problem. So in any event, at that point, in 2020, when we started the show for the second time, she was one of my first calls, and so she had to be part of this as well when I went to YouTube. But it concerns me now that she's saying she can't see it. So we'll see if she can find one. So yeah, so that's how me and Marva hooked up over the years. She's a great person. Great person. All right, so here comes the pure test now. Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you and see you.
Okay, and I can hear you. I believe.
You sure?
Tell me how wonderful I am so I can hear you. I'm actually testing right now. I need you to talk consistently here. Go.
One of the best announcers, best host ever, just best person.
I'm gonna lie and say I can't hear you just so I can hear you continue to lie to people about how great I am. All right, I think this is gonna work then. So there you go. There you go.
I'm sorry about problems earlier, but life's crazy, right?
So what it is now that I can hear you, which is really the biggest thing I had, was I can't hear studio stuff.
Oh, that's not good. You need an engineer there to help you.
Yeah, I can't afford one of those. I can barely afford the studio that's not working this morning, much less.
Intern, get an intern. Great
Get an
chance,
intern.
good experience.
But how have you been? You look like you got a new room there. You good? You got the gray room here.
I'm still trying to figure out the best place to do the show from here. This is not going to be our permanent location, but this is until I can get my office set up. So I have to, there's like good news to share, Rick, and I'm sure you've probably already covered it. Right?
Oh no! Here we go. You mean the fact that your GM got suspended indefinitely yesterday for Carolina football, Michael Marva?
Talk about that first, Rick. First, we're supposed to talk about my Miami Marlins breaking their 12-game losing streak.
Yeah, but they didn't do it against my Padres, did they?
No, they did not. They did not.
Congratulations on ending the streak. Yeah.
It's bad. But they had a good June. July hasn't been great. But August is right around the corner.
All right. Well, let's get into it. I've been waiting to talk to you. Wait a minute. Hang on. No. We got something really cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Marva sent me this. I need an explanation. So she moves to the new digs, and this is what she sees in her backyard.
I don't know if
can y'all see it?
There. Now people can kind of see it. Yeah.
See the alligator?
That's not an alligator.
I mean the crocodile? There you go, sir.
It's not a crocodile.
Look at that.
I have to share you the story, Rick. So, I work from home. Yesterday, I was here just me and my son. We were the only two people here. And he comes like, you got to look outside. You got to look outside. And I'm like, I'm kind of right in the middle of something at work. I can't go right now. No, you got to stop. You got to go look. So I run downstairs to look outside. And I see this thing because I wasn't expecting anything, Rick. I have to be honest. My son, he loves wildlife. And you often will call me to come look at something. And there's a lizard. A small little gecko. It's not a big deal. They're all over Florida. But so I was shocked when I saw there was actually something to see outside. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take a picture of this thing because I have no idea what it was. Because we get a lot of iguanas, but I knew it was not an iguana.
That's a gator.
No, it's
That's
not
a
a gator. I did
crocodile.
the Google search. What is this? And sent the picture. It's something called a tegu, which it
A
is
what?
a tegu. I may be mispronounced. Tegu. It is an invasive species. People got them as pets and it didn't work out. Can you imagine getting one of those things as a pet and then deciding, this is a bad idea, and so just putting it out in the wild?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not. You actually are
I
able
blew.
to kill this thing
Yeah,
if you wanted to because it's not supposed to be there.
I
Um,
blew it up. Yeah, you're right. It's not. It looks like a gator from a distance,
yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah, but it's not.
But yeah, it's a big lizard.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to be there. And I wouldn't looked up what you're supposed to do. You actually can call Florida Fish and Wildlife. They will trap and kill the thing. And I hate the. I know you're supposed to do that, Rick, but I just hate to see an animal be killed. And so I
It's a
kind of
death
hemmed
lizard.
and
So
hawed. And then before I did anything, it crawled right back under the fence and went into the neighbor's yard. And everybody, did you tell them? Did you tell them? The thing is, I'm so new here. I don't know all my neighbors yet. I really don't know them. I don't even
you
know
don't want to be doing. You don't want to go. Hey, there's a big lizard crawling under your house. Hi, I'm Marva.
Yeah. So I didn't say anything. I just feel like it used to be out there because this place had been vacant for a long time. And so the grass had kind of really got up. And I don't know, just my husband just cut the grass recently because it was crazy. And I feel like maybe the thing was used to coming there and kind of relaxing and chilling in that long grass. And then it's like, this is my spot just to hang out and get some sun. And now I can't. Or maybe now I can, but maybe he likes it better. Or she, I have no idea, likes it better with the, grass cut low. So I was just like, oh, well, it's a Florida thing, Rick. It's very common to get these weird things around,
Wayne says, I bet it tastes like chicken.
I will never find out, but probably.
Thunder says it's a death lizard. Wait, I mean, this isn't like finding like a mouse in your house, though. What if that guy makes it into your home? What are you going to do then?
There's no way. There is no way, Rick. There's no way. But, we have had small lizards in the house, which is, again, very common in Florida. Had small lizards. I remember one night I opened up a bath.
That's not a small lizard, Marva.
Well, no, but I mean, small lizards are common. Okay, not this guy. It looks like a baby dinosaur. But small lizards are common. I opened up a bathroom window one night just because I was trying to just cleaning and looking around, and a small lizard came in because I guess he was hanging out outside, right outside the window. He came in, and so then it's like a mad dash trying to get him and get him out. So yeah, it's just Florida living. It is Florida living, Rick, and it's what makes it fun. No, Wayne was not in the toilet. But
Florida living. That's fun. So that's fun to you.
So, well, I mean, I just would never, this may be too much information, but I would never sit on the toilet without looking into it because that does happen in Florida. So it's like, don't just sit on the toilet and get a nasty surprise.
Oh, no, I would think so. I would think that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still there?
I'm sorry you have to deal with that part of it.
Yeah, but it's just part of it. It's not. I'm glad I wasn't outside because if I'd been outside with it, I would have probably freaked out.
Yeah, I think you probably would, and you would have been justified to freak out.
I think anybody would.
Absolutely.
Again, it looks like a baby dinosaur.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So I just thought we could talk about that this morning because I know there is, like I said, I know there's some serious things going on. That. Yeah. Well,
you need to probably talk about your alma mater a little bit this morning, huh?
I don't know. The
don't you think we probably should?
Situation. It's not good, right? I mean, it's not good. And when I heard that yesterday, and of course, it's an investigation, so they're not going to reveal. You're not going to hear details about it for a while. But it just doesn't sound good. And it seems like if the school could have avoided that, they would have avoided it. So I feel like it had to be some very serious allegations for them to go ahead and say this suspension. And the rules of the university dictate that it could take 30 days to see what's going on here. So not a good situation. You look at where we are in the calendar. We are really less than a month away because it's at the end of August, when Carolina goes over to Ireland to play TCU. So it's just not kind of what you want swirling around the program. No. But I did see a funny headline about it. It said, Jordan is now not the biggest distraction to UNC football. So
True.
Yeah,
Very
there's
true.
that.
Very true.
Yes.
Well, I think if Bill Belichick could not keep this from happening, that probably means that he's toast,
Yeah, because you would
right?
think he would say, "Guys, look, this is my guy. That they worked together for a long time. Um, this is nothing. Maybe we don't have to do this. We don't have to make a big deal out of this, or maybe it's something he can stay on staff while this is going on." I, of course, no idea what it is, but I just feel like it had to be pretty serious for this to happen, and you hate to see this type of thing. You hate to think about Carolina football does not need any distractions whatsoever. 4-8 last
Or
year.
maybe it does.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe you can look at it that way. But I just hated to see this news yesterday. It was just like, oh no, just I
Well,
kind of rather see a silly story about Jordan than to deal with something, because could be a very serious thing, could be an ugly thing, and I hope that that's not the case.
well, the thing about it, I'm not sure what he's done. Like, what has he actually done? You know what I'm saying, Michael
Built
Lombardi?
a great roster.
Well, no, he did not. He did
I
not
don't
build a great
know.
roster.
I don't know. And another thing I'd heard about yesterday, that there was some sort of question about, was something going on inappropriately with like NIL, and even
Well,
that
I
seems,
heard
yeah,
there was
that
something else
seems,
going on with somebody else.
oh, well, yeah. I mean, that you also think about that immediately. But I mean, it may be two things even, you know, and if it is NIL, I mean, it seems hard to believe. I don't know. I do see that because it's in college football. You can kind of believe almost anything is going on these days, but it's just not what Carolina needs right now, Rick. It's so not what they need.
No, it does not. It does
Um,
not.
and again, I hope it is not. I just hope it's not a real ugly thing that's going to be bad. Um,
You know what? Phil Steele's fine. I thought so.
I'm
You know,
so
you and I
sorry,
went
guys.
over.
I was trying to
Bless you.
hold that in, but my allergies are really acting up this morning. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. That's what happens when you're as tall as you are. You know the trees. You got allergies all over the place.
It's
Yeah,
all
I get it.
on you.
I get it.
It's like you don't
So
understand.
Phil still has Carolina pick 12, but you know what the last sentence was? We talked about this last week. He says there figures to be a little less off-field noise this summer, which could help lead to a more cohesive team in 2026.
Yeah,
Oops.
I know. I mean, I hope that this isn't adversely affecting the players. I hope this is not where their focus is. But it's just, you just don't want that kind of thing swirling around the program. You want the emphasis to be on, football. We are working out. We're getting, fundamentals straight. We're getting ready for this big game, overseas. That again, I still volunteered to go and cover for this show, because after such a bad year last year, you just want to think, oh, this is a clean slate. It's a new year. We've got things figured out. There's some things that are better.
Did we go over your schedule last week? We did, didn't we?
Oh yeah. It's a tough
Okay.
schedule.
Yeah,
It's a tough schedule. But if Carolina comes out there and wins that first game, Rick, again, you're gonna hear me. You're gonna hear.
Oh yeah.
Allie, because I will be so ecstatic because nobody's expecting Carolina to win that game.
No, not at all. Then you got East Tennessee State, which you could win that one. You could be big 2-0 going to Clemson. Then watch out.
Watch out. So
who's your quarterback?
Possible,
Do you know who your quarterback is?
Notre Dame. Well, there are 4 guys competing for it.
Billy Edwards.
Yeah, I don't know if they've selected one yet. Or
Who's
they may.
Billy Edwards? Okay.
Very promising young man, Rick.
Okay.
You're going to be hearing about him.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it was very quiet. Lombardi and Belichick go back a long way. You're starting to realize all these guys with the Patriots and their lineage during their dynasty, maybe they weren't such good people. All these Patriot people from that era continue to make headlines for all the wrong reasons throughout history here. It's interesting.
A lot of times though, people, when we talked about this before, when people are winning, a lot of questions don't get asked, right? Because
Correct.
for the fans, for a front office, that's what they care about, right? They care about
Yeah, that's
winning.
right. That's right.
And if you are winning and you're doing these things, it might get kind of brushed under the rug and nobody talks about it. Or even, they had some very big scandals with the Patriots, obviously, but they're just like kind of, you know, swept under the rug. But if you're not winning, the same thing can be going on in your organization. And that's what everybody's talking about because you don't have winning to distract you from these things.
T-Bird says reptiles carry diseases, and Thunder says maybe Marva's allergic to the lizard because he might be in the house.
Possible. It's possible. I mean, when I first moved to Florida, really, they did disturb me a lot because you walk out and they're just there and they're like moving all over, driveways and stuff. And it bothered me. But now I'm kind of used to the small ones. I barely notice them. But
that guy,
that guy, you notice him. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a small. What do you have, Gators or Crocs in Florida? I never can remember.
We have
Crocs,
both, actually. One of the rare places that has both.
All right. Well, couldn't tell it was a small gator, because at first I thought it was. It did from a distance, and then you get up on it, I can see, a tegu.
Tegu, Tegu is how you spell it. You guys can Google that. Tegu? I don't know how to pronounce it. I was calling it a tegu, but I'm not an expert, Rick.
They make good eating, T-Bird says.
Yeah. I mean, who knows, maybe.
Put a saddle on him and ride him around the block.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they do say that they eat eggs. That's why you really are supposed to call Florida Fish and Wildlife, because native species, they will eat their eggs. They'll go in their nest and they'll eat their eggs. They'll eat gator eggs. They will eat turtle eggs.
You gonna put some eggs out? You gonna put a carton out for him? Let him have a little snacky?
No, it's not. I'm not going to do that. But I am aware. And so I was like, I read about this thing. They have apparently very powerful teeth. Their tail can also be used as a weapon to whip around and hit an enemy or whatever. So yeah, they're not probably something to play with. Why someone would think that was a good thing to have as a pet? But there are people who have gators as pets. People are weird.
I would not.
No, I would not.
I would not. No, I would not.
Yeah, but we're reasonable.
No. Definitely
somewhat reasonable, right? So
I guess. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with your program. I mean, don't you think if they don't win this year, in all seriousness, let's say you have another 3-win season or whatever it was. What'd you win last year?
4, Rick. Come on. Put some
I'm sorry.
respect.
4 day. Let's say you have another 4-win season. There's no way he's back, right? I mean, because he got hired by everybody outside the program anyway.
Yeah, he's not back. There's a lot of people who never wanted to see this happen in the first place. But then it built excitement. So be like, oh, yeah, maybe this is going to be great. It wasn't great. And, I think it was Paul Feinbaum who had a headline I saw from him that's saying he should just quit now.
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to,
But I mean, I also see headlines that he feels like he learned a lot last year. He didn't really know about what it was going to be like going into the college game. It said he learned a lot. And so, we'll see. We'll watch. Did he learn a lot? Because even if he learned a lot, it's like, as you said, it's a tough schedule. It's a tough schedule. And last year, the schedule wasn't even this tough. I don't think it wasn't this tough last year, and he struggled. So I don't know. We'll see, but I try to be hopeful. All fans, right? In July, all fans are hopeful.
Correct. Everything's a clean slate. Yeah. Everybody's 0-0. Wayne's asking if you name the lizard Little LT for Lawrence Taylor. That's not a bad idea. You could paint a Carolina Blue 56 on its back, and that way, hey, LT.
I did not name the lizard. Again, we don't even know if this is a male or female, guys. So we'd have to name the lizard something like Terry or.
It's true. Are you going to get down there and check to see what it is?
No, I will not be checking. And it'll be interesting to see, though. Does the lizard come back? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Is this
because he's gonna feel about you the way everybody else does. Here comes Marva and the fam, and these are wonderful people. I'm just gonna hang out here, right? They're gonna he'll be back.
This may be evidence that we definitely need to shore up that fence, because clearly he just crawled right under the fence, came in,
But didn't you say, and I think Morris has said it too, with the amphibious activity down there, you just kind of look at it like, okay, right? If you're part of Florida, if you're part of Miami, that whole thing, right?
You can't freak out. You can't freak out. and you do know like fresh water.
Hmm.
I keep telling people when they come down here, please stay out of the fresh water. Enjoy the ocean, stay out of the fresh water because there could be anything in that. And I have friends. I used to live in Central Florida, and I have friends who still live in Central Florida. And there was an unfortunate story about a tourist who was killed by a gator, and her friends were swimming in an area that like native Floridians would not be swimming in that area. Okay. And I feel so sorry for her. And usually these places have signs up to tell you, to warn you. But sometimes people, you don't see anything. So it looks good. And they think, oh, this is a great place to cool off. And it's just not. So that's like my PSA to people who come out. No, stay out of the
Anything
fresh
could be in there.
water. Okay. Stay out of it. And be careful if you have a pet, if you have a dog, you're walking them around it. Be careful, stay away enough so that you can, if you need to pull them back, you can. Okay, just be safe.
Wade says that he could ride with you and you could get biscuits for him from Mickey D's.
No. And I see someone that said they like crackers, chips, and what?
Yeah, with T-Bird hitting Wikipedia there, says they like crackers, cheese. So there you go. Now you know what snacks to leave out.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put a charcuterie board out. No, that's not gonna happen. No.
You could get a kiddie pool, put a little water in there. Yeah.
No.
Jump right in.
None of that's gonna happen. None of that's gonna happen. Now I'm feeling like I had big plans. I'm like, I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna plant some flowers. It's gonna be great. South Florida, it stays warm. You can plant, well into fall. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Not right now. No flowers to be planted.
No.
Flowers.
No, you don't want to be out there. Yeah. Did you look, by the way, when you looked him up, how big do they get? Is that full grown? I can imagine. It has to be full grown, man. He's huge.
Was it like, did I see 5 feet, 5 to 10 maybe? I'd have to go back and
5 feet?
Yeah. They can be really long. So,
wow.
So I don't think that one was max. So
no, that wasn't 5 feet. And they get even bigger. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But maybe too big then to crawl under the fence. Okay, so maybe you have to worry about a full grown one.
Yeah, you might get trapped inside of your fence line. And then you have to call animal control. Do they immediately kill them or do they move them?
Well, they would move. I don't think they would kill it in front of you. Because
I would
they
hope
have
not.
Just come up there. I don't want the family to be traumatized,
that
homeowners, you can kill one. But I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going out. I'm not. That would be then you'd see the crazy story, No, that's not going to happen.
What a bunch of like good old boys in a pickup truck. Yeah, we're here to take care of the problem. They just start firing down.
I'm not going to say anything about our Florida Fish and Wildlife people. I'm sure they're all upstanding, men and women.
Turn into an episode of the A-Team getting after your lizard there. Jeez. Well, we'll see what happens with Lombardi.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder, is this a situation? He's getting paid a lot of money also, Rick.
Yeah, I know, for doing nothing. Yeah. He didn't do anything in the NFL, much less.
So he's getting paid. I mean, I would imagine it's a cushy gig for him. Because I was thinking when he just resigned, will he just say, you know what, I'm going to, but I don't think so. I don't think he's going to walk away from this paycheck.
I think you're right.
Has to, till he is shown the door. I don't think he's going to walk away. So
I don't either. So
it's a very it's just not good. It's not good. Not what I wanted to talk about today, but it is what it is. Right?
That's okay. Trying to see if there's an update since all this happened. No, not really. No. Just kind of ended with their little brief statement that they put out.
And I don't think the school, until the investigation is complete, the school is probably not going to say anything. But there's somebody who knows something. And that as soon as this came out, their reporters are digging. They're trying to find somebody who will be willing to talk about this. Because there's always someone who, as long as you can say, well, you can go off the record with this, because they don't want to. I'm sure the university has said, don't say anything. But somebody who will say, maybe somebody who didn't want him brought in the first place, who will be willing to say something, to give us some hint as to what's going on. So I think we'll probably find out something, but it won't be from the school.
And some of the folks who covered are making some good points. One I just made too. If Bill Belichick couldn't keep this from happening, like if Bill Belichick, so that kind of tells you that this is pretty serious. Carolina acted pretty quickly on something, and they're not to dog them, but traditionally they don't do that.
He'll move slowly. Yeah, move slowly. And he, like I said, if he could have done anything, if he could have said, "Hey guys, there's nothing to this. Trust me," kind of a trust me type thing. Maybe they would have kept it a little quieter and not done a suspension. Maybe we're investigating, but we're keeping it quiet. But for them to go ahead and do that, I think they're also thinking about universities' liability issues. Because we've seen other schools where things are going on and they kind of swept under the rug, and then the people want to call the university to account. Why didn't you do anything about this? Why did you let this go on? So we'll see. But I don't think it's anything good.
No, it's that would not be good. I wouldn't want to see it in my yard. And I live out here in the country, they would have plenty of room to get out of here. I wouldn't want to come in.
They're in Southwest Virginia. It may be too cold for them there.
Yeah, probably. Which, you're probably right. Too many colder months.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just one of the things, something you put up with here. We love the weather here. We love it when I come on in January and it's still nice here and people are still wearing shorts. But it means, you're going to get certain exotic animals that like the warmth too,
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope all that goes well. And I'm glad everybody good. Everybody liked the house. Everybody settling in.
Yeah,
everybody good to go.
We're enjoying it. Like I said, meeting new neighbors and making plans to I am excited about, like I said, I'm very excited, and the kids are too, about planting some flowers. I'm getting into flowers, Rick. I'm excited about planting some flowers. So whoever was here before, there were some petunias out, and they're still gorgeous and they're still blooming. And so I'm just excited about putting my own flowers and doing some planters. So. Yes.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're excited about flowers.
Yes.
That's good. That's a statement that I'll never make in my life, but I'm glad to hear somebody.
You don't do that thing?
I mean, I'll help move, but I won't. I'm not like, hey, let's get to Lowe's and get the new batch of flowers. Let's go. I'm in the mood.
Well, I mean, you can't right now. You have to wait. Okay, because it's about to get cold there pretty soon. You're going to kill everything. You have to wait.
You're right. It'll get colder pretty soon. You're right. We're heading into August at the end of the week.
Yes.
So after that, all bets are off.
Inside, though. You could grow inside and then transplant outside once it gets nicer.
You could, yes. That's 100% logical. You're very logical.
So, I mean, a lot of fun to be had. I'm looking up USDA zones. Do you know about this, Rick?
What?
The USDA zones.
Oh, here we go. No, what is that?
So this is across the country. There are different zones according to the climate, and you can see which zone you live in. So like here, we are in 11A. Okay. That means a lot of stuff can grow here because of it stays warm all the time. Okay. So you should look up and see what your zone is. Can you do that now? And this is very fascinating. You've got to see what zone you're in. Why don't you look it up? I don't even know what you're talking about. We could talk about it next time and you can learn. There's certain plants that are very good for your zone.
All right. Well, send me a link so I can find it easily, and I'll do that, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
T-Bird says Pulaski is 6B.
Okay. So he knows about growing. Yes.
See there? Everybody knows stuff. Look at that. Look at Marva.
You got to
find That's why you're the
6B also, because you're not that far from Pulaski. You probably are 6B.
See, that's why you're the best news person ever. You start talking and people they just relate to it.
So you see what you can grow and get started and what you need to plan for next year.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that next week.
Okay, we will.
Along with the imminent firing and arrest of Michael Lombardi. Yeah, we'll talk about
arrest. Oh my gosh. I hope, but very serious though, I hope it is something that's just a violation of workplace rules and not something that's could result in an arrest.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's probably it won't be an arrest, but it'll be something that's going to embarrass the school. Yeah,
most likely. Great, Rick. Great to end on a sour note. Now we're going to talk about some flowers.
Well, have fun down there with your new friend, Mr. Tegu, and good luck with Good luck. See, keep sending those pictures if he pops up again.
If anything else shows up, I'll take a picture.
I have a
I
feeling
have a
that's not the
kid trying to
last.
get
That's
the
not the
camera.
last.
I'm not allowing it.
Yeah, that's
Not
not the last
allowing
you've
it.
seen of that guy. That's not the last you've seen of that guy. He'll
Oh
be
no, I'm
back.
sure he'll be back. Yeah.
He'll be back. He'll be back. All right. Have a great week.
Okay, thanks. You too.
Go Marlins.
Yes, go Marlins.
All
The
right.
comeback is
Bye-
underway. Okay. Oh my
Hey,
God.
hey, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. She
I'm so
pushes her
sorry.
out
I've
of
been
the
trying
way.
to keep her off camera.
Oh, that's
Goodbye.
fine.
I gotta go right now. Okay.
Oh, that's great. She looks great.
Bye.
Thank you, Marvin. Take care. Awesome. Awesome. Get to see. Hey, we got to see the daughter there. That was awesome. That was awesome. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right. I think Creed heard us talking about critters. I've got to get Brian Seigla on, but Creed is now like wanting in going. So am I not involved in this? I'll be right back. All right. He's all disheveled again. It's okay. Going to get Brian Seigla on here in just a second. By the way, thanks everybody for your patience this morning as we had some. Nothing is fixed the way it needs to be, but at least we're working. So, and I will credit StreamYard for that. They do kind of have a emergency situation. You know, I guess even when things fail around you, the basis of the studio still works. So, I guess from that standpoint, it's worth the money. Coming up, Todd Grantham, defensive coordinator at UAB, and then Phil Steele from the Phil Steele College Football Preview Magazine. You know, even still, with the issues, and I haven't had a lot of issues this morning. There you go. So Brian had to restart his computer. See, he's having issues. He'll be with us a little later, like in a couple minutes. Even with the issues, look, we're on the air. We are broadcasting. See? I don't know how many times, and those of you who listen to the radio show, especially the second time through when I went back in 2020, there were mornings I would show up just to find out nothing was working. Oh, the board's not working. Huh? Oh, by the way, your stream is down. People can't hear you unless they're listening within a 10-mile radius. Will the stream be back up? Oh, yeah. End of the week. Any update on the stream? No. Oh, by the way, the tower is not working because of the wind. Okay. I mean, we probably missed, in the 4 years the show was back on the radio, I bet we missed a month or so worth of total shows. It was bizarre. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, remember when the car drove into the studio? Yeah, destroyed the studio and we couldn't broadcast? Yeah. Brian Seigla joins us. Now, see, you had to
this morning?
Yeah.
I'm getting some lore?
You are. Well, we had all sorts of, like, the everything was messed up when I started the show this morning, so I had to do, like you had to reboot your computer just now, restart, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's still not functioning right, but StreamYard, to their credit, as you know, they have something that will still work even though things aren't really fixed. So that's what we're doing today. But that's okay. That's okay.
All right. Well,
And I was just telling the story on the old radio show when I was back doing radio, but when I went back for the second time, you would show up and people were just sharing. Yeah, we remember. You'd go in and find out, oh, by the way, you're not going to be on today. the board's down, or the tower's down, or your stream's not up. Oh, the computer's not working. And you're like, Somebody could have told me
someone
that.
drove into the tower, and now we can't broadcast today.
Yeah, somebody did drive right into the studio and knock down the wall. Yeah, so that did happen. That did happen.
Man,
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Rick. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Good. We're gonna have Phil Steele a little bit later on. I'm looking forward to seeing what all he has to say about tech,
there
ACC.
we go.
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot going on. And you've got a stream tonight, right? The corner's back.
We had to punt one more week because of
Oh,
schedules, but
Well-
next week we will be every week until the end of the year. So buckle up.
okay. So I blatantly just told a lie. So next week they'll be back. Next week.
Next week we'll be back. Next week we'll be back. Yeah. Schedules didn't quite align this week for what we wanted to do, but that's okay because we're going to get it next week, and then we're going to start our preseason panel. We're breaking it into 3 pieces this year, so we got a couple guests coming on the 11th. Couple more on the 18th, couple more on the 25th, and then we will get our first game episode in the following week before we kick this thing off.
And it will be here. And it's hard to believe, but
It's
will
coming
be
fast
here.
and furious. Fast and furious. We got 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks, just about.
And what I like now is that people can stop talking and they can get to practice here soon. I guess that's this weekend, right? Or Sunday? Is that Saturday? Sunday?
Yeah, I think they are officially starting camp on Saturday.
So now we can get down to starting to get the team back together and start developing some players and getting this thing looking like you need it to look for opening night. So that's the good thing across the country now. You know, everybody will be back looking at those things as opposed to all the prognostications and speculation, right, that we've all had to kind of jump into the last several months.
And we can start answering some of those final questions on a couple position group battles and kind of see what a fully healthy offensive line looks like in fall camp. So I'm excited for both of those things.
Well, that's my biggest thing. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. How's the O-line going to develop? Is it going to be good? I don't want to hear about 10 or 12 guys you could play. I want 5 guys that are good, that are going to be consistent. Worry about depth if that needs to come up. Let's find 5 guys who stand out, and let's get in a good offensive line back in Blacksburg because it's been a long time, Brian. You're right. It's been a while since they've had a good, cohesive offensive front. Too long.
I'd much rather have 7 or 8 that I can trust and feel really good about than 10 and I'm just okay with.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you're going to want to have 1 or 2 that you can trust to put in for a 1 or 2 games even that you feel pretty good about. But beyond that, I mean, most of those guys aren't even going to see the field. So, you know, you need to at least have 1 extra tackle. You need to at least have 1 extra guard that can probably also snap. And beyond that, you just let it ride.
Correct. Is that true? Low Country, is that right? He says Tech's opening is they 51-point favorites against
That's wild.
VMI?
That's wild.
Is that right? I did not.
I
I
haven't seen the lines, but I mean, I trust Low Country.
That's probably about going to be about right. That's what
I
okay.
mean, I don't think that's far off. I could easily see it opening somewhere in the 40s. If it's 51, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, that, and I want to see this defense. The defense for me has to show me. Brent Pry has to show me that he can slide back into that role. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think for a guy. He's going to have to get some confidence. He's going to have to show that is his niche. Look, there's nothing wrong with not being a successful head coach. A lot of coaches are that way, right? They tried, didn't work. They go back to being coordinator, not necessarily at the same place within the same calendar year, but they find their lane once again. And I know that's what James Franklin's banking on anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, he's 4 years removed from the last time he was DC, but at the same time, he put out some really good defenses when he was DC under Franklin at Penn State. I know that this roster is not probably quite where that roster was at that time, the last time he was DC. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I think the big thing is that, we need to see consistency, even if we don't necessarily see elite play out the gate. I think that's one of the things that's kind of been unfortunate hallmark of the defenses post Bud Foster is that they've been very inconsistent. You're not sure what to expect week to week. They seem to play relative to the importance of the game versus just this, we do what we do. So like, when you play Miami, they always played well against a Miami, or, games that mattered. Prize teams seemed to show up more, but like just faded in those games that were kind of like, okay, well, it's a toss up, or maybe we're slight favorites, maybe we're slight dogs. Those games seem to be the ones that were more of a problem. They got up for the Clemsons and the Miamis pretty well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We got to make sure that this team is doing what they do week to week, regardless of the opponent. Correct.
Mindset, focus, and preparation, all those things. It sounds like a cliche, but man, it's the backbone to any successful team. 100%. Wayne's asking, are you wearing a robe, or is that just a terry cloth shirt? What are you?
This is a very, very nice shirt that I'm rocking this morning. I'm trying to keep it relaxed today at the office, so wish me luck. Not a robe. I can do a stand up and turn around if you want to.
Oh, look at that! No, it is nice. Hey, you look like a guy who would show up in like a movie or a TV show as the hired private detective.
There we go. I got to get some sunglasses and do like a little dramatic one-liner.
That's what you would be right now. Didn't you just have an anniversary?
I did.
Hey, happy anniversary. I thought so. I want to make sure.
Last Friday.
Hey, happy anniversary. How many years?
16.
Oh, wow. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Rocking and rolling.
Wow. 16 years. I lasted 14 the first time, and I'm on getting ready to have month number 2 start in about a week and a half.
Keep stacking them, baby. Keep stacking them.
It's stacking weeks. We're stacking weeks. Also, Wayne asked, is that, we were talking about Marva had a big lizard show up in her backyard. Is that a Godzilla statue behind your right shoulder? What is that?
That is a Colts T-Rex. So
you were close, Wayne.
Yeah, it's a T-Rex wearing a Colts jersey and helmet.
That's right. I forgot you're a Colts life. No, were you a Baltimore Colts guy too back when you were younger? Or
yeah, my dad followed the Colts starting back with the Johnny U days, and I kind of adopted that a little bit as I was growing up. So then,
I get it.
Then we had a lot of run with Peyton Manning, so it was really hard to move away from that. I was like, all right, well, I can live with this. I like winning.
Yeah,
I wish we got more Super Bowls as a result of it, but I liked a decade and a half of winning.
How you feel about Daniel Jones? Are you feeling good? Is that a one-off? What do you think?
I'm scared of the one-off, but I liked what I saw within the framework of what that offense did last year.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those things where we got injured at the wrong time of the season, and then, he went down and the wheels just kind of fell off. I think it was like week 10, we had the best record in the NFL and missed the playoffs. So that's not exactly what you want to have happen. But just, the combination of injuries and just a little bit of falling back to earth at the same time was just a deadly combo.
Yeah, I got you. Well, it's going to be a division. It's going to be very interesting. Houston's going to be everybody's favorite, but C.J. Stroud has to bounce back. I don't know what to make of Jacksonville. I have no idea. I mean, they're just – and then, of course, Cam Ward down there in Tennessee. At least Tennessee's going to look better. They've got kind of older school-looking uniforms for the Oilers back this year. So
yeah, I like the new jerseys. I think they're going to be – they're going to look really nice out there. Hopefully they'll look nice while we're taking them to the woodshed a little bit, but –
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you, was that a real helmet that they were showing over the weekend, Tech? Is that real, that white helmet? I'm sure you saw it.
I did. I don't know if it's real or not. I'm sure Clark,
I hope not.
Clark could probably weigh in on that. Where's Clark Rulland?
I hope not. I hope it's not. I did not like it. I don't think Virginia Tech needs a white helmet.
I didn't hate it. But I've never been a big fan of the white helmets, even going back to the the white with the old school stacked logo. I'm not even a big fan of those either. So I like the maroon lids. I like the orange lids when they're paired with the right jersey combo. White, I don't hate the white, but it's not. It wouldn't be my first choice.
No, me either. Because then what are you going to say? What are people going to say about James Franklin? Hey, got a white helmet. Guess what he's trying to do? Who's he trying to look like, right?
And I mean, it's an unfair criticism because we've worn white helmets somewhat.
I know.
You know, even pre-Pry. But at the same time, I mean, they're gonna be like, oh look, he's doing the Penn State clone, and you know, this comes after. You know, everybody was calling for the 99 jerseys to come back, but I mean, the only criticism you can throw at that is like, well, also they're somewhat similar to what Penn State was doing with the more traditional look as well. So it's like,
it's true. How do you win? You can't win, right? Everything's going to get scrutinized. Everything's going to get scrutinized. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody wanted the 99s to come back. So I mean, at least a lot of people. I think a lot of people wanted the 99s.
Well, cool.
To come
well, look,
back,
I appreciate. I think you're right. Well, look, it's just everything Dwight Vick says. Nothing matters but winning. That's all he cares about, and that's really at the bottom line. That's what happens. And if that happens, none of this other stuff's going to matter at all.
Yeah, winning is the cure-all. People will love the white helmets if you're winning in them.
Correct. It won't matter. Yeah, those kind of things will not matter at all. It will not matter at all. All right, brother. Great stuff, man. Great to see you. Have a great week. And again, happy anniversary, man. That's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
That's awesome.
Always a pleasure, Rick.
Give my best to your wife. And so next week, we'll be talking about it going into next week when everybody.
Next week, we'll be talking about it. Like I said, we'll be in full preseason mode next week. So it's going to be a blast.
Okay. All right, man. Stay safe and good luck on solving your case today. Once you get called by Mrs. Ambrose at about noon today as you're out, staking out some joint or something. So there we go. See? You would be my PI. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Absolutely. All right, man. Take care, Brian. All right.
Appreciate
Brian
it.
Seigla joining us on the program. Good stuff. Good stuff. Maroon lid every time, regardless of uniform. Correct. What's up, Chris Lester? How are you? Phil Steele in about half an hour. And look at this guy. He's back. He's had a great week. Todd Grantham still in the beautiful confines of your beautiful lake house. What's up, brother?
What's up, bud? How you doing?
Yeah, doing all right, man.
Today's travel day. Time to go back. Time to lock in. Get ready to start rolling. So I'll head back today and do a few things tomorrow, and then we staff on Thursday, and then we'll have two big days of staffing on Thursday, Friday, and then players come in Sunday, and then Monday is kicking it off. So time to lock in and get rolling, and enough talking, go play. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, as much as you've enjoyed your time off, I don't want to say getting antsy, but you're ready to get after it, aren't you? You're ready to go. You're ready to go.
I kind of forced myself to get away just because, being a coordinator, like once it starts, you never not thinking of something. You know what I'm saying? Like you're thinking of rotation, depth, adjustment to this. You're always like every day. Like for example, we'll rank our players every day after practice. Okay. And we draw a line where, hey, that was a winning type practice. Because the biggest thing is every day practice needs to be practice with a purpose, and that's something that we need to do. So, I think it's good to get away, kind of recharge your batteries, think a little bit, and then hit it running. And basically for the next 5-6 months, it's full metal jacket. So that's what we'll be rolling and getting ready to do. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, as you get ready to get started, Coach, when you get the guys back and you get ready to get out there on Monday, what are some of the things that you're just looking for, right? Is it an energy level? Is it retention of the program and implement? What kind of things early on are you trying to do as a staff?
Yeah, we've really only been away from our guys for 4 weeks. So they continue to work. So really it'll be back to day one processing, and we'll start from there with the understanding of, let's just make sure we understand where we are, what do we do well, who we are, and kind of go with that, and then try to understand, how do we get our best 11 players on the field at the same time, regardless of position, regardless of just who's available, and how do we get those guys on the field? Because, defense is about tackling the guy with the ball. Pretty simple, right? And you got to do that with effort and energy. So there's a certain kind of physicality we want to play with. And we grade that every day. Like every day in practice, we're going to grade we grade mental errors, we grade loafs, which, when you're installing things like that, you could have that. Now, this will be our third time, really fourth time through it. So those would be at a minimum, but we're always going to grade you on the things that you did well, as far as your production, tackles, assists, interceptions, deflected passes, watching your effort to the ball. Like every play is graded for every player a loaf. And, we want to set the standard of being fast, physical, and aggressive. And, the biggest thing is don't flinch. There's always a moment of truth, within a game, because no game is perfect, because you got to overcome things during the game. Like you can go back and look at a dominating game, and there were times in the game like you had to make a play, you had to stand up, you had to bow up. So that's really all we're trying to do. Is we're trying to get a mindset that when we take the field, we're going to stop you, and that's really where we are with it, and we'll continue. I think the biggest thing for me, just thinking about it, is as a coordinator these days, and really even as a head coach, but coordinator, you really got to be adaptable to who you have and who you're playing. You really got to be connectable. And what I mean is connectable to your players, from the standpoint of you got to connect with them, because, each of these guys has their own goals and aspirations individually, which is okay. Right. And we just got to make sure that those things are done within the confines of the team, and it's a team sport. So we got to make sure that we're connectable, or I'm connectable, to make sure that we communicate with our players, what we're trying to do. And a part of that connection is really, defining a role. Like, what is your role on our team? Okay. What is your role in this game plan? And we'll do that. And then the last thing is demanding. You got to be demanding, because football is a tough sport. Look, life's tough, and to be successful, you got to get through hard times and adversity. And that's what football is. So we're going to coach you hard, and we're going to be demanding, but we do that because we love you, and we want to make sure that you can concede. Because I'll tell you this, the thing that keeps you in it is and Elmo could tell you this, is the relationship with the players. And then there's nothing like that locker room after a win. You know what I'm saying? After you kick somebody's ass and you're in the locker room and you've done that whole week's worth of work, and it comes together and you have one common goal. So that's, we just want to work every day to practice with a purpose, play hard, and we're going to go out and compete. And as we do those things, we'll let the chips fall where they may.
Is it more exciting first year implementing a new program like this for you after all these years? You've done it so many different ways, so many different types of teams. Does this kind of recharge you a little bit? Because now here you are starting out year one of trying to get this thing, to where you want it to be.
The thing is that year one at all these places has always been a very bad defense. They were 136, and there's only 137 teams. I think they were like 136. And I've been down that road before. I mean, like when I went to Georgia, they were 5-7, and they were coming from the Poulin Weed Eater Bowl, which, if you're at Georgia going to the Independence Bowl, you're not going to be there very long. And we transitioned that into, the 2 SEC championships and a top ranked defense. Just like when I went to Mississippi State, they were 110th in defense, and we went to 10th in the country and went 9-3, beat LSU and at A&M. And there's other ones, even at Florida. Florida, we ended up winning 9 or 10 games the first year and going to a New Year's Six bowl game, which at that time was the New Year's Day bowl games. And we played Michigan in the Chick-fil-A bowl. So, the pundits are always going to have, and I always use the pundits as an example for our players, because, that is a perception. Like, for example, like, people don't pick us very high right now, which that's okay, but that's really a product of what happened last year. And I try to use that as an example to our players. That's perception that is tagged with you. You're in association because of what happened last year. Well, you know what? We didn't play last year. None of us were here. Okay, only four of the guys.
That's right.
Only four of the guys that played last year are on the team right now. So that has nothing to do with us. And the people that control this year are in this room. Okay, so we're going to control how we play, what we do, and we're going to set the standard. So, we're just going to work to compete, play hard, and give a product that everyone can be proud of. So that part of it excites me, just because you can help change a culture, and you can change an attitude. You can develop a belief. Belief is a powerful thing. It's really cool as you develop toughness, because toughness can be developed. Okay, it's kind of like everybody has a breaking point. Okay,
Correct. Yeah.
So what is your breaking point? Well, what we want to do is intensify that breaking point, and as a unit, we're not breaking. Okay, and that's the thing that you get through practice, and that's why, as a coach, you got to be demanding in practice, because in the fourth quarter, the offense is going to punt. Okay, and you got to go stop them. And you're going to have to, and the toughest thing to do is stop someone in a 2-minute drive, because they got 4 downs. They got to go win the game. It's like game 7 of the NBA playoffs back in the day. I mean, that was the hardest thing to do, is finish somebody. So,
yep.
But that's the mindset you got to have. And you got to create those things in practice with the way you practice, the way you perform, because you want the players to know they're prepared, because once they know they're prepared and they believe, they got confidence. And once they got confidence, they communicate and they play hard. So, those are the things that we're going to work on and develop over the next few weeks to give us something to get ready to roll that first ball game.
I think you made a great point, and I hope people were listening. So everything that's being talked about UAB is about people who are no longer there going into the season. So, and they have no idea what, not only the type of players, but the kind of character of the people that are now, taking over the program, right? That's where these whole preseason things just throw them out the window,
right? And that's why I actually use them to our advantage from a standpoint of, like we're rated as one of the lesser defenses in the conference. Okay, well, there's only who in here played last year. Okay, and that ain't us. We didn't play, but that's the tag that's with you. That's perception, because you're related to things that have happened in the past. So the great thing about sports is the guys that get to change that opportunity, the guys that get to change that are us. Okay, and what we're changing is that perception and that mindset of people, outside. Now, the only thing that matters to me is what the players think, and our players have a pretty good confidence level. They're excited, and we understand the things we can do, but we got to go play. We got to be physical. We got to set the point. We got to be aggressive, and we're going to have to play with effort and energy, and we're going to have to play together, because synergy is a great thing. Meaning, when you got 11 guys, and those guys play at maximum effort, you can become greater than your individual parts. And that's where we got to get locked into and get ready to roll over the next few weeks, for the season.
Can day one of practice set a tone, or is every day a separate entity to set a tone?
Every day is a separate day. I mean, they have the acclimation period now, so you don't have pads on. And I think it's important that when you have pads on, I'll tell our guys, I'm not evaluating your toughness without pads. Like, I don't need you slinging guys to the ground. I don't need you to throw guys. I need you to, keep your feet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to play with your hands. You got to keep your feet. Yeah. Now you can still leverage the ball. Okay. Near shoulder, outside shoulder, vice the ball. You can still get in a hitting position. But at some point up front, somebody's got to give, right? Because you can't just keep without pads on. So you got to work with the linemen. You got to work together. And I always tell them, because I do believe this, and this is more of my NFL background, because, in NFL, you're playing 17 games, and that's a long season. And back in the day, we actually had, 4 preseason games. So, now you're talking 21 games, right? Well, you can't go in pads every day because of the banging of the physicality of the players. So you've got to learn to practice without pads so that we can get work done, that we can get you fresh for the game. Okay. So And I kind of use it as, hey, look, we need to show Coach Mortensen that we can practice and have a good quality practice without pads. So therefore, on a Thursday of game week, we don't need to put the pads on. We can start getting our body where it needs to be, because we've done the physical work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. And now we can take those pads off and we can play with our hands, our feet. We're still practicing. We're still moving. I mean, and I actually have clips of NFL teams practicing without pads, because I like to show the players, look, this is how you practice without pads, because they're not, you don't slow down. You're still moving, and all you've done is taken the physical contact out of it. And so we'll kind of start that. There's an acclimation period where first 2 days are like that. And then after that, you progress into putting your your shoulder pads on. And then by the 5th day, you're in full gear and everything. But honestly, once you put the uppers on, that's how we practice most of the time anyway, because the full padded thing to nowadays, that doesn't matter, because people don't really cut block. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as important. The biggest thing is when you put the pads on because if you put the pads on for the guys up front, whether you're in full gear or shoulder pads, it really don't matter, because they're banging, right? So, we'll start that and acclimate that. So when we don't have pads on, I try to emphasize our guys. I'm wanting to see execution. I want to see your feet moving. I want to see your hands moving. And then once we get the pads on, I am evaluating your toughness, and I am looking for it, because we always talk to our guys, about competitive toughness, like, what is that? And basically, when you talk about competitive toughness, it's your ability to gain control or superiority over someone that's trying to do the same thing to you. That's really what it is. When you line up against somebody and you're the ball's there and I'm across the sky from the ball, my competitive toughness is I'm trying to whip your ass. Okay. And I'm trying to gain superiority over you. That's really what you're trying to do with your competitive toughness. And your toughness is your ability to do that down in and down out. And look, you may have a bad rep. Well, I'm coming back next play. So just know I'm going to be here for 60 minutes and 4 quarters, and we're going to play. And that's what you really try to instill with your players, within it. For example, like when we get to the last period of the day, like we'll take like a 2-minute break and it's last period. Well, I try to up the tone 4th quarter. Okay, to set the mindset of, okay, we played these other plays, however we played them doesn't matter. And I even tell them that doesn't matter. Okay, well, now it's 4th quarter, so now this next rack of 8 plays or 6 plays or whatever you get as a unit, this is 4th quarter. Okay, so how are we going to play these plays? Because in the 4th quarter, things, the stakes go up a little bit, and you got to be able to go finish. And that way you can create that mindset. So when I come over during a game and I say, it's 4th quarter, we got to go stop them. We've done that in practice. We've created that environment. So we really try to create the environment within practice. And that way, when it comes up in the game, we're ready for it. So I'm looking forward to, getting with these guys, working. You really enjoy the players as you get older. I think you enjoy the players because I kind of see, their aspirations, their goals. I do see our potential, but we got to go do it, and we got to stay healthy, and we'll continue to, work on technique, fundamentals, and those kind of things. But I really do enjoy being around the players as you get older.
You see a situation, what happened with North Carolina, something off the field, and it's going to be distracting and so forth. How much is that? Can that deter, or kids now just?
Nah, kids.
Or is that just? How does that work with that?
I mean, kids nowadays, they're going to be locked in. I mean, it might be something that'll, be talked about for a couple minutes, and then it's on the practice or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, kids are just different nowadays. And everything. So I think that that will not be a distraction of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about all these off the field things that happen, but it seems like the more we get every year forward, kids today have other things on their mind than worrying about stuff like that, right? Yeah. As long as their coaches are with them and things of that nature.
I don't think any of that'll happen. Just now if they take a puppy out for an interview, then maybe they'll start talking about it then.
I asked Coach Elmo this yesterday. Somebody sent me the Duke some of the Duke players, and they made a TikTok video where they were dancing on. Is that the kind of is that the kind of thing you just have to roll with as you go on and evolve as a coach?
Yeah, that's these guys, man. I mean, like, and we create that because, like, for example, as a part of your official visit, now you don't you can do it, but you have a photo shoot on official visits, right? So when that photo shoot, that stuff is enhanced. And you see all of that during recruiting. They'll have a photo shoot. The guy gets up and, whether it's music or smoke or whatever, and there's a photo shoot. So that part of it's really enhanced by the university because you do a photo shoot with them when they come in. And then, music, guys do connect with music nowadays, and they like making those things. It's fun. It's just another part of it. So, look, what you do in your person, I'm good. It's just when we get in meetings, it's time to lock in and talk about football. So I'm good with you I'm good with you having fun. It's not going to affect me, in my opinion of you. It doesn't affect how you're going to play this technique or how you're going to play our defense. But once we get into meetings, it's time to lock in.
Well, you're off to a great start because I saw you sent me the post. You're going full time with the Dragon logo. I mean, my goodness gracious, that's going to get you
like that. I knew you would like
that.
Now we got the fire, so we got to up our ante with the fire coming now with the Dragon.
So I need, I don't know if you know anybody down there. What would be cool, because I'm a hat guy. If you run across a Dragon hat that somebody might look for, one of those flex or fitted, just let me know. I'll be glad to do whatever I need to do. Wink, wink.
We'll have to work on that. See if we can get a Dragon hat for you.
Because you got the coolest logo maybe in college football. So you got that going for you.
I think that, and you actually said it. I think we were the only one with a dragon. I mean, I think there might be one other, but I don't think many people have a dragon. There's a lot of tigers out there. There's a lot of tigers.
That's right. You're the only dragon. You're the only dragon. So. Because Drexel does not have a football team, so you're the only football dragon. That's
there you go.
I know you had a great time last week, did you? Your son was with you. You guys were fishing.
Because it was my last week to fish. Well, it's so hot now that you really, I was on the water by 6:30, and I'd fish from 6:30 to 10:30. So like your show's in the middle of my fishing, man. So I'm like, I got to go fishing because I'm not gonna get to do this for another 6 months. That's the thing. People like, man, it's great to get that break, which is really nice. And it is fun. It's great. But like, I'm not going to get another break now till January or December or whatever it is. And, so it's Full Metal Jacket now. So I had to get as many of those days in as I could. And yesterday, my last cast, I caught about a 4-pound bass. So that was pretty cool.
Did you really?
Yeah. I said, all right, last cast. And I caught one. Now I was going to go to, I caught one. But I said, all right, last cast, and then I hooked one, and so I was done for the day and put everything up for the year, and came back and started packing and getting ready, and I'll head to Birmingham today and get ready to roll. I'm going to stop by and see my daughter on the way. She just moved in last week, so
very cool.
Yeah, I get to do that, and that's one of the cool things about being there. And I'll do that, and then head over and get ready to go in tomorrow to make sure everything's ready for, we're really organized. Mort did a great job of organizing our Thursday and Friday as staff, as far as how it's broken down, as far as, going over recruiting, because even though we're away, you still got to recruit, even though we probably won't recruit many guys. You'll recruit some guys, and the ones you got, or the ones you sign, you want to be ready for them to play. So we'll end up doing a little bit of that. And then they have a few special teams rules that have changed so that we can go over those things again. We've already did it in the spring, and then they'll have special teams meetings. And then after that, we'll get into O&D meetings. And then we come together as a staff, and then we really go through the first couple weeks of practice in the sense of, okay, we need to do one-on-one tackling. Okay. So what day can we do that? And then we'll look through the calendar, and all right, we're going to scrimmage this coming Saturday. So we got to get a one-on-one tackling with the offense relative to like linebackers against running backs, DBs against wide receivers. We get that in. Now we're thudding every day in practice, but I'm talking about tackle to the ground, type deal. And if you put them in space, one-on-one isolation, you reduce your chances of injury. So we'll do that. And then, the O-line and D-line, for example, will get together and we'll do like, okay, we're doing half line drill today. The next day we're doing what we call 4 open, which means there's no tight ends there because the tight ends are going down the perimeter drill. So we'll have that coordinated. And then the last day we'll do combo blocks, 2-on-1s, because we get a lot of run fits, but your ability to anchor on the double teams and hold the points and doing those things. So we'll kind of set that up. So basically we come together as a staff and we work together, because that's how you get better. For example, I give our offense our playbook. Okay. And I'd say, all right, install 1, this is what's going in, install 2. So there's no surprises. And I've actually, this is probably the one thing I did learn from Petrino was, I'm like, if you ever need to see something, then let me know. For example, like you may have a certain route that's a cover 3 beater or a quarters beater. Well, I want to see that route against that coverage, because that's how I learned to play the play, because every coverage has, an asset and a liability within the coverage, and you got to play the play. So if there's a cover 3 beater or a quarters beater, then there are things within that call that allow you to make the adjustment in the play. So if you need to see it, I want to see it. And so we'll work together that way and everything. And that's the thing. The great thing about Coach Mortensen is just his implementation of their offense, and letting us pretty much run what we want to run. Because some offensive coaches don't want to see that. You know what I mean? They're like, well, I don't want to see it. Well, they don't want to see it because they don't have answers.
That's
and
right.
The only way you get better is through practice. And but he is awesome as far as you run your stuff, we run our stuff. If there's something we need to see, we'll let you know. If there's something I want to see, I'll ask them. From that standpoint, and we work together really well. So I like our setup. We just got to go in and work and grind every day and practice with a purpose. We got to meet with a purpose and try to enhance our, you grow every day as a player. No different than a coach. Like if you're a coach and you're coaching the same way you did like in 2019, well, you're behind. You know what I'm saying? So every day you got to grow as an individual, whether you're a coach or a player. And that's going to be our purpose, and we're looking forward to it. And, do some things that, will make some people around Birmingham proud.
Absolutely, you will. I have no doubt about that. And I'm looking forward to it. Are you going to be okay schedule-wise? This whole progress of getting this team together is going to be exciting for me and for people.
I mean,
to see how.
We'll be fine. Obviously, we open up with a challenging game. We got Illinois at Illinois Thursday night, Big Ten Network. So that'll be a challenging game. And then we come home after that and got a home game. So, the first game is going to be a challenging, but it'll be exciting for our players. That, they'll be ready, and we're looking forward to it. So we'll just go play the game. Put the ball down. The biggest thing, give us a blade of grass to defend, okay, and then spot the ball and let's go play. And that's kind of the mindset we take. And I really do like the energy of our players. I like the mindset of our players. And, I think that the biggest thing I can say is synergy and belief are a powerful thing, in the sense of, sometimes the whole is better than the individual. Okay. And that's what we've got to work on.
Well, just let me know if you need to adjust anything. We'll work it out here show-wise.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out somehow on the when the season starts, because that'll be tougher. But we'll keep it rolling and seeing what happens. But we should be good, during training camp, because our schedule is basically we go Monday, Tuesday, and it's really good the way we set up. Like 9 o'clock, we're on the field practicing, and this is actually the way we did it. This is the way we did it. When I was in pro ball with the Colts, and actually our receivers coach was in Tampa with Bruce, because I knew that I kind of saw the similarities and we talked about it. But anyway, we're getting up and we're going to go play, right? 9 o'clock in the morning, we're on the field. We're on the Dragon at 9, and we're starting our stuff. We stretching and we're ready to roll. And then after that, we start the day with the idea of, okay, you got to give a little bit of time off, and then we'll come back and we'll watch the practice we just had. Okay. And we'll make the corrections we need to have. And then after that, we'll go and we kind of break it up. You watch the practice and corrections, and the other group lifts. Okay, and then we switch. Okay, so that part of it we do, and then we all come back and we go to unit meetings, and then we'll have an installation meeting, about an hour and 45 minutes installation meeting, and then we'll have a 45-minute walkthrough after that. Okay, for the next day, and then we're done. So then the players are out of there by 7 o'clock, 6:50. And then that gives them time to rest, get dinner. We'll have dinner for them then, and then they'll go rest, and then we'll get up the next day and do it. So we'll do that Monday and Tuesday. Come Wednesday, we'll have an off day, which is more of a recovery day. And we will basically have meetings to install, correct, and then walk through. And then we'll go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And that's 3 hard days. That's pretty physical. And usually Saturday's a scrimmage. We'll come in after Saturday and make the corrections and install for Monday. And then Sunday is a total day off for the players, and they can get their minds right and all that kind of stuff. So I like our schedule. We just got to go work and perform.
Well, I know you will have them working and performing, man. Hey, safe travels back to Birmingham. I know you're looking ready to get started.
I guess you got the pundit on next, Tom. You got a pundit.
Yeah, Phil's going to jump on here in a little bit. We'll see what he says about I'm going to ask him about the Blazers too.
Well, my whole life I've worked to prove the pundits wrong. I mean, I think when I went to Mississippi State, he had a 6-6, and we ended up going 9-3 and beating LSU and A&M. And when I went to Florida, I think he had a 7-5, and that's the year we won 9 games, went to Michigan. But, that's why you play the games. I mean, he's got to make his evaluations off something, and generally it's based on what happened last year. And, I remember when that book first started, he's done a really good job of promoting the book. He works hard at it, but you can't be right on everything. And,
that's right.
The people that control the wins and losses are the guys in the room. So we're the ones that control that. So
that's right.
We're going to work to do our part. So anyway, appreciate the time. Enjoy yourself, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, brother. Stay safe, man. Take care.
All right, see you.
All right. There you go. Coach Grantham getting ready for UAB practice right around the corner. Great stuff from him. Appreciate him greatly. Can't wait to follow them too. We're excited about Tech, right? First year coach, James Franklin, everybody around here. I'm excited about what's going to happen there at UAB as well. I know a lot of people are. We're going to have a lot of UAB fans here in the area. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. The NRV Super Bowl, call them, 382-5525. Leagues are forming now, men's, women's, and also for kids. The Smith Brothers Sundown Electric down in Elliston, one of the best reputations of any company, and appreciate them so much, their support. They keep costs down, always communicating with their clients. ReadySetFund.com, that's Bob Christ, CRST11 at Gmail. Be sure to reach out to Bob. Any questions about the Ready Set Fund, see how they can help you and your program raise some money. Travis Williams Professional Door Incorporated up in Dublin, celebrating 40 years starting here in July. You still have the rest of the week to call 540-674-0008. Tell them you heard us talking about on the show. You get $40 off immediately your first visit to get your garage doors maintenance checked. Please do that. Don't waste time. Don't forget. Don't procrastinate. 674-0008. Tell them you heard us talking about it on the show. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me for the last 35 years in this program. Our BDST fan question of the week: if you could not pull for Virginia Tech and or your favorite college football team, who would be number 2? Good question. Up is Brandon, by the way, in chat. 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thank you so much, Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Everybody in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, you make it great. Thank you so much for that. Mark Hunley, 155. Walter Strott. And, of course, Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. First sponsor ever had here on the program, 540-200-8294. Reach out, familyfencingnrv.com for a free quote, and do it today. And I believe that's everyone. Is that everyone? Let me double check before we get Phil on. I believe it is. Good stuff. Good stuff. What's up, Brian? I'm going to have to find UAB hat that. Yeah, I know. Exactly. I hinted around pretty obviously there, didn't I? So So we'll see. We'll see. Phil Steele is going to join us here coming up. Let me make sure we're good here. Yeah, okay. Make sure I can get an email. I sent him a new link as well to join the program. Phil will be on with his avatar. He doesn't go live like you see on camera. That's just what he does. So you'll get to see the Phil Steele avatar. And we'll ask him about the ACC. I'm going to get my, going to get my book ready here. And we'll go over the ACC with Phil. What are my other teams? Wayne says, mine's Radford since my mom went there. And because your favorite broadcaster works there. Right, Wayne? Okay, I did send a link. Phil's saying he does not have a link. Let me see. Sent one this morning. All right. We're trying to get everything worked out here with Phil. I don't know if I have a. All right. It's been one of those days, man. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Now he should be good to go. His email switched. There we go. Okay, now he'll join us here, I think. All right, so we're going to get into the ACC first and foremost. And he likes tech a lot. Let's tell you right now. No spoiler alert, but I think he's really excited about what this could become pretty quickly. In the ACC. Yeah. Absolutely. Been a wild morning, man. But you know what? We've still done more broadcasting with nothing working early than we ever did back in the old days of radio when everything was not working. And, you know, for me, I'd have to drive. It was about a 25-minute drive to the station every morning. So you'd get up early and then you'd go to the station and then you find out you're not on the air. Yeah, that was very troubling. But not a problem here. Joining us on the program, it's never a problem to have the publisher of the quintessential college football preview magazine, Phil Steele, joins us. Phil, how are you? Good morning. Welcome back to the program. How are you?
Hey, I am doing great, Rick. How about yourself this morning?
No, I am doing great, man. It's great to have you here. And here you are in 2026. Before we get started, we keep talking about it with our fans here. What kind of challenges has the new environment of college football with the portal, how has that presented more challenges for you to put together this year? But because it doesn't look like you missed the beat, Phil. I'll just tell you that.
I appreciate that, Rick. I'll tell you what, 2022, 23, or 23, 24, and 25 were a real struggle with that second transfer portal window. I do the magazine in a 3 write-through process. The first write-through is postseason. I start the Sunday after Thanksgiving. It's a 7-month process. And I write each position. I go through every article that was written about the team for the upcoming season. And I write, okay, what kind of shape was this unit heading into last year? What happened last year? What do I expect for next year? And then the second write-through is after we get the spring portals, the portal window closes, you add the freshmen. And the third is after talking to the coaches. Well, with that second transfer portal window, I couldn't talk to the coaches until May. So I had to cram in all the 130 plus coaches all in the month of May and rewrite 138 teams all in the month of May. This year, not having a second spring portal window was huge. In fact, every coach I talked to, Rick, and this year I talked to 133 of the 138 coaches, they'd say, hey, Phil, how you doing? I'm like, oh, coach, I'm doing so much better. There's no second transfer portal window. I don't have to rewrite 138 teams. They would counter with, You know what, Phil? We were more of a team this spring than we've been the last 4 years. The team we took into the spring, we knew we'd be coming out of. We could coach him harder. We could list a guy third string, knowing he's not going to leave after spring. The players didn't have to worry about being replaced. I just felt we bonded more as a team. I think we're going to see a better brand of football this year, Rick.
I think that's a great point. I hadn't thought about it that way, but you're right. So they're as happy as you are to see the second portal window taken away, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think there was 2 coaches that said, "Oh, when they get to a position, they said, Phil, I wish we had a second spring portal window to address this position." But that's 2 out of 133, and that was just like one position per coach. But yeah, I would say almost every single coach united in the fact they loved that fact there was no second portal window.
Well, it's terrific as always, packed full of way too information. I think you could start this thing as soon as you purchase it, read a page or a section every day, and by the time you got into January, the end of the season, you still would not have come through everything that you provide in here. And let's get into the ACC. This is, here in Southwest Virginia, and of course, Blacksburg UVA fans. But let's talk about the league and Miami, who's going to be everybody's pick. And let me ask you, after the breakthrough last year, are we finally seeing the Canes? Is this the real edition of Miami football under Mario Cristobal finally getting entrenched again in culture going forward?
Oh, absolutely. Mario Cristobal's doing a hell of a job. And, Rick, the amazing stat to me, and it amazes me every time I write the magazine, Miami joined the ACC in 2004. How many titles have they won?
Yeah, none.
0, none. And so it's almost shocking because back in 2004, you would have thought they'd win every other year. But I tell you, you look at this year's roster, they are loaded. They've got Darian Mensah back at quarterback, or bring him in from Duke, I should say. And they also bring his top receiver, Cooper Barcade, in from Duke.
Right.
That joins Mark Fletcher, Malachi Toney. And if you have a question with Miami this year, it's the offensive line. They only have one starter back, right? But who's the head coach? Mario Cristobal. I've been talking to Coach Cristobal since his days all the way back at Florida International. And I can tell you that this guy coaches offensive line, develops offensive line. So that's really not a concern for me. When you look at the schedule this year, it sets up pretty well. They do have to play Clemson on the road, Notre Dame on the road, 2 tough tests. But I think talent-wise, Miami is the best team in the ACC. And let's go ahead and call for it, Rick. I'm going to call for them to get that first ACC title this year.
You like Clemson and Louisville in second place there. What is it about the Tigers? It's been a tough adjustment for Dabo Swinney into the portal. What do you like best about their team on paper?
Well, they're a homegrown team, and I think homegrown teams have an advantage. And they did use the portal this year. They brought in 10 guys.
They did.
I expected their defense to be better last year. They did only allow 20 points per game, but 357 yards per game. They addressed that in the portal. They brought in some big-time guys on the defensive side of the ball. It's a second year for Tom Allen. I think the defense will be much improved. And then offensively, yes, they lose Klubnik, but I like Vizina and I also like Tate Reynolds, a true freshman. Whoever wins the job is going to be solid. Offensive line is good, and the receiving core with TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco, Tyler Brown is top-notch. So I think you're going to see Clemson. I actually have them an underdog in only 2 games this year, home against Miami and at LSU. I think they get back to double-digit wins this season.
Has SMU surprised you with how quickly they've risen to the top of the conference in contention? They have a lot of money behind their program. They were determined to be part of a power league, and boy, they fit right in, haven't they? And then some.
Yeah, and last year they were right there to get back to the ACC title game for a second straight year, and then they dropped that game against Cal in the final and sort of cost them. It's interesting. Kevin Jennings, when I talked to Coach Lashley, he said that he was playing on a bum ankle all year, and that I know he threw 13 interceptions, but he said actually half the interceptions weren't his fault. The receiver made the wrong move, or a pass got tipped, something like that. So I think you're going to see a Kevin Jennings really emerge this year and maybe be a Heisman candidate at the end of the year. They add in a Kendrick Raphael from Cal, and I guess if you can't beat him, join him, right? Because he's the guy that scored the game-winning touchdown that kept SMU out of the ACC title game last year. This is a very talented SMU roster, but we're going to know about SMU right out of the gate. They play at Florida State on a Monday. Remember, Florida State knocked off Alabama last year in a similar situation. And then 2 weeks later, play at Louisville. If they can split those or win both of those, I think you'll see SMU in the ACC title game because the rest of the schedule, very manageable.
Phil Steele joining us on the program. If you don't have it yet, go ahead and get your Phil Steele College Football 2026 preview. Anybody has any questions in chat, let me know. We'll pass it along to Phil. All right, so here you go now. Your next tier of teams, you got 4 teams kind of all together there in the 5th spot. Not a lot of separation, and let's lead off with the school here in our backyard. Virginia Tech, James Franklin. I know you think a lot of Coach Franklin and what he's built previously. How quickly can he make it happen again in Blacksburg, especially starting with team number 1 here?
Yeah, I like the amount of Penn State players he brought over with him. I think we see in the transfer portal era, if a coach comes in and brings 20-plus players with him from his previous school, that helps the transition period. And I like Ethan Grunkemeyer at the quarterback position. He's a guy that was sort of thrown into the fire last year against some really good defenses, especially early on, and it got better as the season went on. You look at all the units, the tight end position may be the strongest unit on the team. Offensive line is solid. All 8 units rank in my top units in front of the magazine. So I like the talent acquisition that Franklin had bringing in the transfer portal. And I think that a lot of these players are from Penn State will help. It's not just a mismatch of players from all over the different teams. And then the schedule really helps as well. You know, when a new coach comes in, if they have early season success, the players buy in quicker. Well, they open up with VMI, Old Dominion, at Maryland, at Boston College, home to Pitt, at Cal, and home to Georgia Tech. I think they've got the potential to open up 7-0 this year. Now, Coach Franklin did remind me that they have to play at Clemson, at SMU, at Miami down the stretch. So you got 3 really tough games in the second half of the year. But if this team's 7-0 to start out the year, I think they're going to be playing full of confidence. So it should be probably the best thing James Franklin did, though, was somehow getting Brent Pry to come back as defensive coordinator. I mean, to have the former head coach come back as DC, and he's had great success with James Franklin as DC. I think that's a huge stroke of great stroke for James Franklin.
A question for you, Phil. Was there a harder position to evaluate when you looked at Tech's roster once you got all the info? Was there one that was kind of difficult to pinpoint?
I would have to say maybe the secondary, because in the secondary, a lot of the guys in the spring missed due to injury. So they didn't have that continuity. You know, I talked about how you become a team in the spring and things like that. A lot of the secondary missed the spring practice. Coach Franklin was a little unsure what they had there in the secondary due to that.
Virginia, they come off a record-setting year, 11 wins, right? The other team here in the Commonwealth in the Power 4. Tony Elliott just kind of quietly did his job. He got this program through one of the most tragic things we've heard of with the senseless shootings a few years ago, and they lose a lot of skill, right? The quarterback, top receivers, 1,000-yard running back. But what about UVA gives you a lot of confidence they can bounce back and have another competitive season in the league?
The job that Tony Elliott's doing, and hats off to the Virginia staff going through 3 losing seasons to start, sticking with Coach. And, you know, last year, you go back to his first 2 years, I thought one of the problems with Virginia was the offensive line. They had like 1 career start on the offensive line his first year and maybe 5 the second. And finally, they're getting more and more experienced lines. This year, when I talked to Coach Elliott, he said that on the offensive line, he felt like they have 10 offensive linemen, maybe even 12 that can play this year. Most coaches like to get a top 8, but if you have a top 10, top 12, you got really good depth there. I like both quarterbacks they brought in, Bo Pribula coming in from Penn State/Missouri, and then Eli Holstein, who comes in from Pitt. Both guys have experience. Both have started games, won games. I think they're in good shape there. And they do bring in 31 players from the portal, which is a large number. But Elliott hit some home runs last year and could do so again this year. I also like the fact that they don't have to travel and play NC State in Brazil. I remember talking to Coach Kleiman and Coach Campbell of Kansas State and Iowa State last year. They had talked about how teams like Florida State and Georgia Tech had struggled with the trip overseas, and they were worried about how it would affect them. It definitely affected Kansas State last year and affected Iowa State in the second half of the year. Getting that game at home now, that's a big plus for Virginia. And I think you got a team that, they were in the ACC title game, very nearly made the playoff last year. Now they're number 16 on my experience chart. I think Virginia's got a chance of contending in the ACC.
And you're also a fan of Louisville, I know, a whole lot, aren't you? And Jeff Brom's done a terrific job, and why not? They just seem to reload. They have money to get players, and they've done a nice job over the last couple of years, haven't they, filling needs when they've lost kids either to the portal or to graduation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go back to last year and look at Louisville. Louisville had a bunch of close losses last year. So, they could easily have had an even better record. This year they have 5 ACC home games. They get back their dynamic combo at running back of Isaac and Kewan Brown.
Yeah.
When those two guys were healthy, their offense was almost unstoppable. I like the addition of Lincoln Keenholz at quarterback. Here's a guy coming over from Ohio State. Gives him more of we haven't really seen it with Jeff Brom, but a mobile quarterback. So let's see how he incorporates that into the offense. And they did hit some home runs in the portal. And when you look at Louisville this year, they opened up with Ole Miss, but the schedule sets up pretty good. It's my number 41 rated schedule in the country. One of the better schedules in the ACC. I rated it the 4th best schedule in the ACC this year. I'm surprised the over-under win total for Louisville is 7.5. That really surprises me this year. I think they're a team that has a chance of getting the double-digit wins potentially.
Florida State, they're kind of an enigma with what they should be and what they've been. Seems like this is Mike Norvell. He knows he's going to have a strong bounce-back year. How did you look at the Noles, and could they be a sleeper team, one of these squads that kind of sneak up on people in the conference?
They were much better than their 5-7 record last year. You go back, they were plus 76 yards per game in ACC play. That generally equates to 6-2, but they actually finished just 2-6. And you look at they started out the year 3-0. They're ranked, I think, number 7 in the country. And then they lose in overtime. They lose by 6. They lose by 3. They lose by 7. They have 4 close losses back-to-back games they could easily have won. And just didn't happen. Now, Norvell used the portal again. They bring in Ashton Daniels at QB. Returning Deuce Robinson, I think, is huge. They had in a couple NFL offensive linemen and Nate Paps from Bowling Green, Xavier Chaplin from Auburn. I like those additions. The one thing I don't like about Florida State this year is the schedule. I think the best 4 teams in the ACC, the most talented, are Miami, Clemson, SMU, and Louisville. There's only one team in the ACC that plays all 4 of those. That's Florida State. They also play Virginia, Pitt, NC State. That's a brutal schedule. If you're a coach on the hot seat, the one thing you don't want is the toughest schedule in the ACC. And unfortunately, right. that's the card that Mike Norvell was handed.
Looking back at last year, and I know it was last year, and I know you evaluate just what's in front of you, but when you look at this league, is it safe to say that Clemson may have been the biggest disappointment and Wake may have been the biggest surprise? Because Wake, what a year they had with 9 wins last year.
That's a good call, Rick. You hit it right on the head. In fact, at the start of the year, I think everybody in the country, including myself, had Clemson in the top 5. I mean, they had everybody coming back. They had the schedule laid out. You're thinking it's going to be a big year for Clemson, and it just turned out to be a massive disappointment. And it was interesting going over Wake Forest with the coach last year. Their main thing was snaps, experience. How many snaps did this guy have? How much experience? And look what it got him, 9-4. Now, granted, Wake did play one of the softer schedules in the ACC last year, and they play a tougher schedule this year. But, yes, I think you hit it right on the head. Biggest disappointment, Clemson, and biggest surprise, Wake Forest. Although Duke winning the ACC, probably a little bit of a surprise as well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I don't know if anybody had Duke and Virginia playing in the ACC championship game a year ago, right?
Nobody.
Well, when you look at looking at the rest of the league, so who's your top 5? Who do you like nationally, Phil? Just break it down. I know SEC, Big Ten, Indiana, for instance. What's going to go on there with new quarterback Kurt Signetti with his program coming off that national championship?
It's interesting, Rick. You're talking about the Indiana quarterback. I'll give you a little history of myself and Coach Signetti. His first year that I talked to him when James Madison came into the FBS, he had lost his all-conference quarterback. He had 0 experience at QB. They were taking a step up to the FBS level, and I'm going over the roster with him. I'm like, well, Coach, the quarterback, I don't know. He's like, Phil, every team I've coached, I've had an all-conference quarterback, and I'm going to have one this year. And boom, guess what? They had an all-conference quarterback this year. So he can develop a quarterback. He always has a top-notch QB. Remember what he did with Curtis Rourke a couple of years ago, coming over from Miami. And I like Josh Hoover. And I asked him about Hoover this year, and he said he's in the same shape that Mendoza was coming out of spring, about the same level of the offense. So I think he's going to do just fine. And remember, he's got a great supporting cast. They've returned Charlie Becker at wide receiver. Nick Marsh is added from Michigan State there. The offensive line, I rate number 3 in the country. Defensively, they're strong, so he doesn't have to take a lot of chances. They're going to be ahead in games. At TCU, he had to take some chances because they were behind. They also have my number 10 special teams. With Indiana, I do not have an underdog in any game. I've got the Ohio State game at home. Pick them, but I think this is a team that's very capable of getting back to the playoff. The other top teams across the country, I think when you look at Ohio State, they've got Julian Sayin. They've got Jeremiah Smith. They've got my number 2 rated offensive line. They've got a 1,000-yard rusher. They probably have the most potent offense in the country. They do play a much tougher schedule this year, though. They have to play at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC, at Nebraska. So they've got 5 really tough road games. Last year, they had an easy schedule. This year, the 6th toughest. Oregon, I think, is in that mix as well. When you look at Oregon, they could very well be the fourth different Big Ten team to win a national title in 4 years. I was really surprised Dante Moore opted to return. This guy would have been a top 5 draft pick in the NFL. The entire defensive line is back. That's highly unusual because these guys are really good. They could have left for the NFL. The receiving core was banged up last year. They do have to play Ohio State on the road during the regular season and USC. And if you drop a game or 2 in the regular season, it doesn't matter. Ask Miami. Once you get to the playoffs, it's the best team that wins, so watch out for the Ducks. Out of the SEC, I would take a look at Georgia and Texas. The 2 most talented rosters. Both have experienced quarterbacks, Gunnar Stockton and Arch Manning. Both have better offensive lines in front of them than they did last year. Both have better receiving cores. Both have better run games than they did last year. So, and both have outstanding defenses. I think Georgia's defense I rate number 2. Texas is a top 20 defense. So I think both those teams are in contention in the SEC. And then out of the Big 12, I'm looking at Texas Tech. And I know Sorsby's not there. But when I wrote the magazine, Rick, I was 90% sure that Sorsby would not be playing this year. I was like, there's no way they can let this guy play. So my power ratings were adjusted to Sorsby not playing. So I wrote the magazine, put it out, and then all of a sudden they announce he is playing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to adjust my ratings. And then they announce he's not. But when you look at Texas Tech's schedule, they're going to be at least a touchdown favorite in every game this year. Joey McGuire's doing a great job compiling talent. And it's interesting, in my conversation with Coach McGuire, one of his main things, his main concerns this spring is overcoming that bye week. You know, out of the 8 teams that have sat out for a month while their opponent played last week, only one team, led by Kurt Signetti, has won in the bye week. Georgia's even lost twice in the bye week, for crying out loud. That was Coach McGuire's biggest concern. How are we going to combat the bye week this year? So that tells you a little bit about the confidence level at Texas Tech.
You have Virginia Tech. I know you expect them to be one of your more improved teams. Who's the number 1 improved team? A couple teams right at the top of that list, because you're always right on when you start talking about these squads. Sure enough, they show up.
Yeah, and my number 1 most improved team is a team from the area there, Rick. It's the Liberty Flames. And,
okay.
Liberty only won 4 games last year, but have you ever seen a team lose back-to-back overtime games, 3 overtime games in 3 weeks? They had a lot of close losses last year. Could easily have been a lot better. They were plus 67 yards per game in CUSA play. This year, you look at the losses, and, you know, when I go over the rosters, Rick, with the group of 6 coaches, they'll get excited about a player. They'll say, oh, this guy's this guy's going to do this. So we won't have them next year. And that's pretty much the group of 6 just feels that way. I think the American Conference lost 72% of their first and second team all conference players to the portal. But Liberty only lost 27 starts to the FBS out of the portal. So they didn't take as big a hit. I like Jamie Chadwell. He didn't forget how to coach. And, you know, they just lost a lot of close games. I like at the quarterback position, they've got 4 guys that Chadwell's confident in. Deshaun Purdy, who comes in from Wake Forest. Ethan Vasco, who started last year, is back. Jalen Henderson from West Virginia, who also started a game at Texas A&M. And even the redshirt freshman, Ethan Houck. So deep at quarterback. Kane Udo is a guy that had 1,000 yards at Army. Sort of had to learn a new system at Arizona State last year, but he's now more into the system this year. I think he's going to have a big year, and it's a talented roster. I think Liberty can go from 4 wins to double-digit wins this year, and that's why I have them as my number 1 most improved team.
Wow. All right, I'm getting a lot of questions on the text line here about West Virginia. The Mountaineers are pretty close by where we are here. How about the Mountaineers in the Big 12, and how do you think they're going to settle in this year? Could they improve?
Yeah, I talked about the second spring portal window. Let's talk about West Virginia. Last year when I went over the roster with Rich Rod, he was bringing in 30-plus players in the second transfer portal window, guys that hadn't even been in for the spring. And I'd say, okay, Coach, what about this guy? Phil, I haven't seen him yet. I could tell you what if I've seen him on film, but I don't know the guy. He hasn't even been here yet. He doesn't come here for a month. And that was pretty much 30 of the players on the roster. This year, Rich Rod knew all his players. They all were in for the spring. Yes, he did bring a lot of transfer portal. And last year, I actually picked them last in the Big 12. And they surprised me getting to 4 wins. And that was even getting down to a 5th-string quarterback and a 5th-string running back. Now, this year, if they stay healthier, which they should, I like the addition of Michael Hawkins at QB, along with Scotty Fox, who was a true freshman last year. How about adding in Cam Cook, who was the nation's leading runner from Jacksonville State? And Rich Rod was really excited about bringing in Rick Trickett as the offensive line coach from Jacksonville State, and they bring in a couple of offensive linemen with them. So, yes, they have the same amount of portal transfers as they did last year, but they're a much more experienced team. These guys have all been in for the spring. I think West Virginia can double their win total from last year. So if you're looking for one of those teams picked at the very bottom of the Big 12 that could actually get into the upper half, keep your eyes on West Virginia, especially if they take care of business at home.
All right, a couple more here, Phil, and then we'll let you go. But I'm getting a lot of Tech fans asking about Penn State. Obviously, they have a general interest in what happened with James Franklin there. Now they bring in Matt Campbell. What about the Nittany Lions and his first team on paper?
Well, Matt Campbell was handed a big gift here this year, and that's the schedule. No Ohio State, no Indiana, no Oregon. How about that?
Yeah.
And generally when when a head coach comes in, he's got to learn all the players have to learn their schemes. He brings over like 24 guys with him from Iowa State. Now, granted, if you would have put Iowa State in the Big Ten last year, I would have picked them in the lower half of the rankings. But as we saw with James Madison and Kurt Cignetti, the continuity is huge when you have a new head coach. And they've got one of the most veteran quarterbacks in the country in Rocco Becht. This guy's been starting for 4 years now. He brings over his top rusher from Iowa State, the top 4 receivers from Iowa State. The schedule is tailor-made for success. Marshall, at Temple, Buffalo, home to Wisconsin, at Northwestern. They could easily open up the year 5-0. I think the key to Penn State's season is going to be October the 10th. It's a whiteout. It's against USC. I think if any team in the Big Ten can break into those top 3, it's USC. Watch out for the Trojans. They do have to play Michigan and Washington on the road, but Matt Campbell's a heck of a coach. I remember when they were going through the coaching process, you're like, oh my, they're really getting down to the bottom of the barrel. Then all of a sudden they pull Matt Campbell out. I'm like, that's a great hire. He always gets the most out of the talent. So I think Penn State's going to have a very successful year this year.
JMU's a team here, has a lot of local interest, obviously being the first team from the Commonwealth to make the college football playoff. The Dukes lost a lot. Obviously, their head coach, a lot of players, but they bring in a coach that's got a history of winning, especially at that level, don't they?
Yeah, and Coach Napier likes the whole attitude of the James Madison players. And keep in mind, they retained 49 players from that playoff team. So you have the basis of the attitude. The recruits he brought in, he thought had the James Madison attitude. And, Coach Napier was talking about the running back core. Remember those running back cores he had at Louisiana? They'd have like 3 guys all close to 1,000 yards. He compares that to this group. He says he loves the depth, similar to his Louisiana days. So you got Petway, Herman, Cromwell, and even guys like a redshirt freshman in McCarter, a redshirt freshman in Fannin Render. These are all guys that can contribute. So with that type of run game and the James Madison attitude, I think a couple key games early. Hosting Liberty, that's a big game right out of the box, and then at San Diego State. But they're my favorites to win their division, and I've got them playing Louisiana in the Sun Belt title game this year.
And we have a link, obviously, the defensive coordinator for UAB, Todd Grantham, joins us every week. So I want to talk about how you evaluate the AC and that program. Everything's new, right? They're obviously rebuilding. But what was some of the things that you noticed? Coach Morton's got a good reputation from his days as quarterback at Arkansas, played in the, he's in the NFL coaching. What do you like about what UAB has in terms of their placement here for year one for the new regime?
Really impressed talking to Coach Mortensen this spring, going over the roster with him. I think he's got a good attitude. I'll say this. UAB has given their football program zero support the past couple of years. I mean, zero support. And this year, Coach Mortensen said they actually gave him some support. So it's not one of the top NILs in the American Conference, that's for sure. They're still near the bottom. But at least they get a little something. So he was able to bring in some players. He liked the players he brought in the transfer portal. I think it's probably going to be a rebuilding year. I picked him towards the bottom of the American Conference. But as mentioned, I was actually higher on UAB coming out of the conversation with Coach Mortensen than I was heading into it.
Well, Phil, terrific stuff as always. Again, a lot of extra things I know you want to tell people about. Here's the basic book, folks, but there's so much more that Phil has to offer each and every year to college football fans.
I appreciate that, Rick. Yeah, the magazine's 376 pages, 2 full pages on all 138 FBS teams. You get the same amount of coverage on Liberty and Old Dominion that you do on Alabama and Ohio State, 2 full pages. And it's only available at 2 places, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. So if you're out and about, don't waste your gas money. Just go to Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or you could go online to philsteele.com. And at philsteele.com, we're going to charge you a shipping charge if you order the magazine, but we do give you the digital magazine for free. And the digital magazine actually updated all the way through September. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, philsteele.com. And check out my daily blogs on philsteele.com as well. A lot of interesting information up there. And we do, Rick, we have an FCS magazine, 2 full pages on every FCS team. That's available digital only at philsteele.com.
Yeah, and the Phil Steele Plus package is $99, by the way. That's a heck of a deal for a whole season right there, right on the back of the book, in case people forget. So, well, Phil, listen,
we've been doing this show together, Rick.
We've been doing it. I was looking back from the first run of the radio show. Probably for you and I've been doing this for over 20 years, at least, going back to mid 2000s or so. Yeah,
I love it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on in the early years of the magazine, Rick, when we were still building, still growing. And now look where we are, 376 full color pages. Generally regarded the Bible of college football. It's guys like you that had me on 20 years ago. So thank you, Rick. I really appreciate you.
Well, no, thank you. And here, now we're on YouTube. So who knew? We're all kind of involved.
Worlds are changing, huh?
It is. Well, thanks, brother. We appreciate it. We may catch up with you again here soon. So, all
right. Sounds good, Rick. And thanks once again. Thanks for having me on for 20 plus years.
Yes, sir. All the time. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you, man. Take care. All right. Go get your copy of the Phil Steele College Football Magazine. All right. We are done for the day. Good stuff. See, wasn't it worth it? Stick-to-itiveness. We had some issues early, but now here we are ready to rock and roll. Thanks to everybody in chat. You're terrific. Thanks to all of our sponsors. CTG, he likes UVA to potentially be a contender in the league. Of course, he's got Miami and SMU kind of set apart, but he likes UVA. Sounded like, 8-9 wins, wouldn't be a bit surprised. So, yeah, and the schedule works out for them as well. We'll be back tomorrow on the Hump Day Wednesday edition. Mike Burnup will be on tomorrow. You can go back and rewatch Phil Steele. I'll repost it if you missed it. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the Wednesday edition. Thanks again to Marva. Thanks to Brian Seigla. Thanks to Todd Grantham and to Phil Steele. Go get your book today.